Hello, everybody. Welcome to Football Tonight here on TopFCRadio.com. And also, we're live on AMP app, and we're going to be live on YouTube as well, so you can enjoy that there. Now, Laurent, we
Yes, sir.
are back on, man.
We are
And
back.
we thought
We are
there
back.
wasn't going to be a lot international break. Well, you kind of think that way until matches
Yeah.
start happening, news
Yeah.
start to come out. One right there,
Yeah.
you can see it. And we're going to start talking about that. And you don't think it's a big deal, but I mean, it is. It makes noise when a top player, or name player, he's not top player right now, but
Nope.
he came out positive for testosterone. He wasn't. He didn't play the game against. I forgot the match that it was that Juventus played.
It was
I think
Italy versus Brescia. I mean, Juve versus Brescia. We're talking about Senor POGBA,
Yeah, I will
who
look up
I've
the exact.
already,
It was
who
August.
I've already blasted more than once.
Yeah, it was August 22nd, I believe, when he didn't even start. He didn't even play at all. But what do you
No.
think of this? I mean, of the situation of Paul Pogba? I mean, something is going on. Obviously, he said before this came out, he was talking about issues with his family, his brother.
Yeah,
all
whatever's
that stuff.
going on with him is really bad, right? He's got like family members and people trying to extort him. I think it was his brother. It's bad. So that part is compartmentalized. It's hard to be a super duper football star when you have a bad family. It's hard enough to be one and be at the top level, let alone when you have a bad family. That's why someone like Wanda and Immobile's misses, that's why she makes a difference, because she keeps all that shit away from him. Or, you remember we had this with Benzema and the extortion thing with that little winger that they had. Anyway, he missed the national team for years. But with Pogba, I think the issue with this story is, one, it's preliminary. So they just taking your precaution, something tested positive. The fact that it's testosterone is really, really weird,
And it's
because that's very basic. Like if he was trying to cheat, that's not what you would do. You would use something
And
much better.
It's just traces.
Right. And so they have a second batch that they have to test. If that's cleared, then he's fine. I think it makes for a salacious headline because of the injuries, because it's Pogba, because it's at Juve. But I mean, I think fundamentally he's done even having a chance at being an all-timer at this point. He made his legacy on a couple years with Juve and winning the World Cup with France. But in my opinion,
don't do it.
The only reason that Pogba got to be Pogba is because he had the greatest defensive midfielder ever behind him, Mr. Conte, who made a few teams look better than they were. Like, hey, Leicester won the championship. Why? Because Conte. He moves to Chelsea. Chelsea the next year. Conte. They win the title. Tuchel. Why did they win the Champions League? Because Conte put Kevin De Bruyne in his pocket and he disappeared permanently. So Conte makes a lot of players look better, and I'm going to make a bold statement that N'Golo Conte is the greatest player without the ball I have ever seen in my life. Without the ball, no one is better.
He was a great player. He was a great player. I give you that. I don't know.
Pogba be able to do what he could do, right? And I haven't seen Pogba be good without him for a very long time, to be fair.
Well, Pogba, I mean, come on. Pogba has been a good player. I mean, obviously, recently, history doesn't accompany injuries, right? what, and injuries. And, of course, stuff happening off the pitch has a lot to do with it. But at the end of the day, we made a video here on Top Football Club, about it specifically. I don't want people jumping to the gun and because people are cruel, and once they put a label on you, it is done and over with. So he needs to be found guilty and see. Because look, I give an example.
I don't really worry about the steroid thing. The thing with Pogba is that we still talk about him. He's not good anymore.
Well, I mean, he's playing at Juventus, so you have to, and when stuff like this happens, the people are going to talk about him. I don't think that.
He could not play in a top 5 club in the Premier League right now.
The Premier League is not it's not everything in football, as we have discussed many times.
Absolutely, it is.
No, it's probably the best league or most watched league, but but obviously, other teams, are top as well.
No,
But
I
I
know.
mean, it
I know.
is what
Listen,
it is.
I think the other thing that Pogba suffered from is this: he's French,
Yeah,
he's tall, he's
don't say
strong,
that.
he's an incredible midfielder. So everyone thinks he's supposed to be Patrick Vieira, and
Yeah,
he's not. He's a 10, and
yeah,
everyone always wanted him to play as a 6. And he's
that wasn't gonna
bad back
happen.
there because
He
all
can't
those
defend.
tricks that he does, whenever he loses the ball and he's the last defender, like, yo, why are you trying to do a Cruyff turn? Why
Yeah,
are you trying to do all these tricks and flicks behind there? You can't do, you're the last guy back there. I can't tell you how many times with United, he'd be isolated on the wing in the buildup. He'd try and do something funky, lose the ball, and boom, they're in on the defense. And Harry Maguire's like, Paul, what are you doing? I'm not good enough. Why did you do that?
exactly,
When
exactly.
you're that player, you've got to be like Casemiro, right? You get the ball, you move it. You get the ball, and if you lose it, you smash the dude who gets the ball off you, right?
Right.
And Pogba just didn't have that in him. When he played farther up, he had that like 1 or 2 month stretch before. Is it when Cristiano got to United or just after? One of those two, I don't remember, where he put like 7 assists in the first 3 games. He went nuts. Ended up leading United in assists, only played like 10 games. But it was always something. It was always injuries, hernia, this, and now I think he's got too many injuries, too little time on the ball. Every year you don't play is time, and you lose something.
So something was always going on with him. Okay,
But
so
one more point,
yeah,
and I just want to make one more point, just because it illustrates one of the true great things about Cristiano and Messi. Without their stats at all, without anything, neither of them never missed games. For 15 years, they were good for 3,000 minutes. Just that alone would make them
right.
great players, right?
That is true.
But the fact that they're fantastic and don't get hurt is amazing.
Yeah, that is actually a good point. They don't really get hurt much. I mean, you can
The
come up
greats
with
don't get injured.
You can come up with Cristiano got injured in the final of the Euros. That was a good one. That was one of the not a good one for him.
But
Yeah,
they
I'm sure
won
he was,
anyway, right?
he won anyway, but he was really active on the side on the side. Remember when
He was coaching.
he was directed. He was all over that, and of
Well,
course,
he didn't want any. He didn't want. He wanted to make sure Portugal, if Portugal was going to win, he was part of it.
he was
He
yeah
wasn't going to let them
yeah.
win without him.
But I mean, it is what it is. I don't know what's going to happen with Pogba. Probably nothing. Juventus has suspended him temporarily until they figure it out. They have to do that. I mean, it's just protocol stuff. But like you said, it's just testosterone.
I think Juve with Vlahovic and Chiesa and Pogba, they should be able to score goals, right? You'd expect them to score goals in some way or another. The question is will Allegri change? Will he allow that team to play with any risk?
I mean, honestly, I think
that is the problem with Juve.
I think Allegri
They've tried two or three different times to try and expand, and then it fails, and so they go backward again.
I think Allegri has just pushed his luck already far enough with Juventus. I think something needs to be done. And talking about something needing to be done, something was done about Germany and and his coach got sacked because the super champs of Japan gave them the business 4-1, I believe 5-1.
Boy, Matoma.
And
Everything comes back to Brighton. Remember, everything comes back to Brighton.
And so, I mean, it was an incredible match. In the beginning, I didn't think that it was going to turn out that way, obviously, but I meant it because the first 5-10 minutes, didn't seem that way. Of course, Germany tying the game with my man Sané, aka John Morant, and then it just went downhill. And you said he won the treble. I mean,
he did win the treble,
but
that is a fact.
It is a fact. But Germany is a big. I always say this, and I'm going to die saying it. Big clubs, big teams, big royalty national teams and clubs need royalty type coaches. There's not many of them, but I do believe in my eyes the club is a top-notch coach. If not only Guardiola would be one, and I think they need him. And I honestly I don't think Klopp would say no.
Who needs who? Who? Oh, Klopp to Germany?
Yeah, I think Germany needs Klopp. to just take it over. They
Yeah,
have
they would
1
love
year
to have
left.
Klopp, but Klopp's
I
not
don't
doing
know.
that.
I don't know. I
Klopp's
don't
not doing
know.
that. I think that the
Don't
bigger
forget
thing that I think.
don't forget that you can't forget that he is German from there.
Yes.
He feels
Yes.
that. You don't feel that, but he feels that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just saying.
I understand. I understand. The pull is very huge, but I think that he has had the rebuild with Liverpool. He's not going to leave without
Yeah.
seeing how it goes.
That would
I
be
think
tough.
the thing that's more interesting about Germany is if you read between the lines about what's happening with the team is that the population has disconnected from the team. They used to really support and love the team and show up at the games, but now the Flick era, and even since even the end of Jogi Löw, this is a German team in decline. It has been bad for a few years now. I mean, this isn't even the first time they've lost to Japan twice in less than a year. They lost their last group game to Japan. That's how they were outed. Their last good win was they drew against Spain, they beat Costa Rica, lost to Belgium, drew with Ukraine, lost to Poland, and Poland is awful, lost to Colombia. I mean, this was coming, and this team is in decline. There's not an identity. There's not a German way of playing. There's no striker. There's a lot of inconsistent wingers, right? Sané is good when he's good, but with Germany, you always expect they're always going to put in a 7 out of 10 performance. But now what you're getting from Germany is like you're getting 3s, then you're getting an 8, then you're getting a 5, then you're getting a 2, then once in a while you get a 9. There's just nothing for the team to latch onto. And there's a lot of course, the terrible stuff that goes on in Europe. Oh, there's too many immigrants. Oh, is this team German? Where are the German players who are German, real German? Sound familiar?
Whatever.
Real Germans versus real French people versus real Americans. It's something that's pervasive in sport that happens a lot, but it's happening in Germany too. And so they're having to deal with that. There's a little bit of a disconnect on what's going on. There's a little bit of a disconnect on the rainbow laces. So a lot of the cultural stuff that's in the air is being imprinted on these teams, and it's getting connected. I don't think it's connected, but the narrative is connected. And I don't agree with it, but it is kind of crazy where they are. And then in terms of candidates, the only one that makes sense in terms of level that's
It's
German
Klopp.
is
It's
Nagelsmann, right?
It's Klopp. What do you mean? The only one that makes sense?
The only one that makes sense is Klopp. Correct. Let's put that over here.
Okay.
The only one who's available is Nagelsmann.
Well, he could be it. Right now, it's my man. What's his name?
The guy from Eintracht Frankfurt is the other coach.
Rudi Voller.
Former manager. He's the director of football. Yeah.
Right. So, but I mean, we can talk a few minutes about really the players of Germany because I don't know that they don't have anybody. I mean, Sané is a good player. Musiala is a great player. Thomas Müller on the way out, but brings experience off the bench. Gundogan
All
still
you have
has
to know is
Kai
Havertz.
Havertz.
Is there
Kai
number
Havertz.
Bum.
Fulkrug is out there getting it done. My man Nicholas.
Play until late, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying they still Kimmich, Gnabry.
Yeah, that's 2.
I don't know why Emre Can's
Like,
still getting called, but okay.
Exactly, because they don't have any good midfielders.
Rudiger, tremendous defender.
They're in a low era, and the players that they have that are good are very young, right?
Yeah.
I mean, guys like Kevin Schade are on the bench. The guy doesn't start for freaking Leeds, right? Patrick Gross is 35. Pascal Gross is 35, getting his first call up to play in the midfield. That's a Brighton player. Germany should not have players who play in Brighton playing for them, right?
Yeah.
Kai Havertz is a maligned player who hasn't had a good game in a year. I mean, whatever his talent was, he has not had a good game in a year, right? But he's playing. Gnabry and Sané, we know about. They're good. Wirtz is a very good young player. A lot of young players. Where's the leadership? Where's that controller? Where's that classic German steel and control and everything that they need to feel like they're winning games, that they control these games? They're unable to control anything. They have no way to play right now. They need someone who's going to be very pragmatic and German and be like, I have Rudiger and Süle. We're not playing a high line. Because Süle, while fast when he gets moving, does not have the foot speed to play a high line. Kimmich, when does Kimmich ever have to defend? He's an attacking midfielder. Why isn't he playing in the midfield instead of Emre Can? Can should be, you know what I mean? Like, they just need to be someone creative instead of someone dogmatic. And Flick was very much, we play a high line. I'm going to play the way I played at Bayern. But Bayern, this isn't Bayern. You don't get to pick players you have. You have to find a system for them. And I think that's really been the issue with Germany, is there's a complete disconnect between the coaching, between the fans. He's just not able to connect with the culture of the team. And to your point, your guy Klopp is that guy, right? For sure. He connects with everything.
Exactly. Exactly. And as we were able to get our backgrounds figured out, that's but you're looking good, man. You're looking good.
Nice. Thank you.
Let's move away from this bro moment that we just had. Well, looking at the international break, of course, South American countries are going. Peru tied with Paraguay, Brazil beating Bolivia like a drum, Argentina beating.
The big thing out of that Brazil game is the Neymar thing. It's just like there's a debate.
No, there's no debate.
I know he's your guy. Where do we rank Neymar? Neymar is now the all-time leading scorer for Brazil.
And I go over.
That's a fact. Over Pele, right? Okay, that's true.
I'm smacking the crap out of him.
He did it in 40 games more with a different way that we do qualifying now, right? So,
but Pelé didn't have 1,000 games for the national team to actually get a chance to score.
No, but he had 100 games. It's 99 versus 125 or something like that.
But how many goals are we talking about? 7. That he would have to score. Listen, we're not even going to discuss.
I understand. Listen, we're not arguing whether Pelé and Neymar are
well,
equal.
But that
okay. Pelé's over here.
Exactly.
But I
now
think
Neymar.
Go ahead. The question I think that is to Neymar is his career ultimately a failure in what we wanted it to be?
Well,
or is he where he should be? Because he's in Saudi Arabia, he's 32, he's not going to get better, right? He's where he is. And I didn't know this, I didn't really put it together, but Brazil have not won the World Cup for 20 years. That isn't, or a Copa America for 10. This is Brazil. And so he's not lifted a one trophy, I think, somewhere in there with Brazil.
They got the little Olympic
the other one
thing.
Yeah.
The gold,
but the issue I think Neymar has to his credit is he's not in a great generation for Brazil. Who have his strikers been?
Yeah, but not the great.
When was the last time there was a good Brazilian striker? Hulk?
If we're gonna compare everything to the Ronaldo, just the 2002, 2006, 2010, maybe latest. That was, even though they didn't win it, that caliber. Just looking at the players, each Roberto Carlos, Cafu. I mean, it was just unbelievable. But I mean, just look at the '94. They had great players.
No, but that's different. They were great back then.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you can say that the Neymar didn't have enough. I
look
guess
at the fullbacks, right? They had.
But did Neymar? I just don't know that Neymar did enough either to actually.
But he had to. But the question is do we ding him for the fact that he's not part of a great Brazil generation? For Brazil, not for anyone else. For Brazil's level, right? Is he? He couldn't carry them. Why does he get all these? He couldn't have off days. If he missed games, they lost. Period.
Well,
right?
I would say
it was over.
I would say that he is going to get blame of a lot of these situations.
Of course, that's just the way it is, right?
But that just comes with it. I would say,
yeah. But the thing is, his production was really, really high, right? Like, take away the narrative of him getting shot and rolling around on the ground and injuries and all this stuff. When you actually go look at the stats and the numbers, you're like, holy shit. It's like 25 and 15, especially the early years. International, goal. He just scored and scored and scored. But we see his moments as failure because he's through the lens of Brazil. This is the problem of being a player for Brazil. It's the same problem that Messi was having.
But let's be honest. I mean, one thing I know, we have a lot of Argentinian friends, but it is what it is. Brazil historically is the best national team ever. And not just because, I mean, the World Cups have a lot to do with it, but just player after player just cracks, man. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, it is a lot of pressure. I don't know that
A
Neymar was
lot
the right
beyond our
man for that.
understanding.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
that, and he will be criticized just because it is what it is. I mean, you don't get to
Yeah.
make as much money or have the fame and not have a counter.
So I was watching something on, I don't know the name of the channel off the top of my head. Hit Sevens, HITH Sevens. He's a really, really good YouTuber. He does really, really good historical things. And I watched like a half-hour video about why Brazil doesn't win anymore.
Right.
Really fascinating. I recommend everyone go watch it. Just search for, it's a big channel. Anyway, he made the really good point that Brazilian players no longer develop in Brazil anymore.
Well, yeah.
And so they've lost some of the jogo bonito, some of the things that made them Brazilian, that made them different, that made them hard to play. Now, they haven't had really bad. They've had some World Cup upsets that are, it's hard to win the World Cup. It just is. So some of the games, like they took 15 shots on goal against Belgium and lost, or they batter some team and they lose, right? They just didn't get the luck. So you miss the luck, you lose a game, you got to wait 4 years. It's like, it's brutal.
Yeah,
I know how it is. Champions League for City, at least it's just a year. But in the World Cup, if you lose a knockout game, that's it.
It is a tough. I mean, you know, Brazil, Argentina, and I know Argentina specifically because I used to watch.
Argentina waited. They waited
forever. So Argentina, Brazil, Spain now, Germany, Italy, England.
They're talking about it's coming home from 1966. They can't stop talking about it.
That's what they do. That's what they breathe for. Is the World Cup. I think Europeans do like more the Euros as well. They do some in South America, but like Argentina's per se, it's all about the World Cup.
Libertadores. I mean, not the
Libertadores.
Well,
that's for clubs. That's for clubs.
Copa America.
It is, and you know, but it is kind of a different kind of tournament because Peru is like.
Let's rank them. What are the ranks? Right. The World Cup is the number one trophy you want to win.
Yeah.
Second,
it's
the
Champions
Euro.
League. It's Champions League. Oh, you're talking about
Euro's bigger.
Oh no. When it comes to
the Euro,
football in general, no, Champions League.
No. Like
national team. Okay, yeah.
World Cup,
the Euros, and Copa America.
Then the Copa America. Those are the three. Then the Gold Cup. No.
No. Come on now. The poor U.S. We're going to talk about Berhalter in the U.S.
The Oceanic Cup.
Oh my goodness.
Those are the three, though, right? And if you're Argentinian or Brazilian or Uruguayan, if you're not going to win the World Cup, try and get one of those. Try and get one of those Euros, one of those cups, right?
Uruguay has a lot of talent. They think they're big. They won 2 World Cups, but. They got Bielsa. They got Bielsa now, so that we'll see what. I like him too. He's already going at it with the press. He's already
loco, man.
He's just going
Darwin
at it with
Nunez. He's already been talking to Darwin Nunez every day.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about this Spanish situation. As Rubiales finally quits after Kiss Row on an interview with Piers Morgan. It's kind of crazy. We're gonna go back to the international because we have a lot to go. But Spain,
my comment. No, go ahead. I'm talking too much. Go ahead.
No. You're perfect. You're perfect. I do want to know exactly what you think about this because Spain is doing good when it comes to the men's. I mean, they're all right. They have a lot of talent, just like a lot of these clubs. Like I would say Germany. I would say England. England has a lot of
striker. Everybody needs a striker.
Morata is part of the club right now. Morata, everybody, clubs and
everybody
and
needs a. That's why. That's what's so frustrating about England. They have Harry Kane and they're fucking it up.
They have Morata right now. That's who they have. But they kind of came out. They did a statement. They had to almost saying, "Hey, yeah, we don't condone it, but we'll let." Kind of just putting it aside. Hey, we're not gonna bring that heat onto us. Now this guy quits with Piers Morgan, an English show, when he should have. I know this became worldwide. But the people that he affected is his people directly. So he should be talking to Diarias, Marca. I guess it doesn't matter. I'm just being picky. But you chose Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan was good, I guess, to just keep asking. And But
this guy's an iconoclast at Rubiales. He wants to do it his way. He doesn't want to go through Spain. He wants to
but
do it the way he wants to do it. You know what I mean?
but
He's a
even
rebel.
but
He's a
even at the end,
troublemaker.
he was like, I guess, yeah, I will have to quit because my family, my dad, they talk to me. I don't want to quit, but this and that, and it's just a bunch of crap. And so, I'm glad he's gone because I know that. I mean, and you know me, and when we were private on our group chat, I'm always defending people that need to
Yeah, they
defend
need
themselves.
we need to be
You need
right,
to
and
be cautious.
you need to be found guilty as well, right?
However, he just did everything wrong. He just
Yes.
maybe he shouldn't have quit. I don't know. Maybe he should have went by. But everything after, like right after the fact, he went. He said,
All
"F
of it. All
everybody,
of it he did it wrong. Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
your, or he just went the wrong way."
Here's where I want to go, and I want to stop and say the most important thing. This man is a narcissist. If you love your country the way he's supposed to represent Spain as the head of the FA, you would not do this to your country. Those women won the World Cup. That should have been their moment. They should be a parade. We shouldn't be talking about this guy at all. So I want to bring it back to the women that won the World
Yeah.
Cup. That is Spain, 2023 Women's World Cup champion. They dethrone a great team in England who had been the Euro champion. They beat big teams. They only lost one game, and that's a great team. And I want to talk about women's football more as we go through this, at least once a month, to check in a WSL, to check in the Women's Champions League. Arsenal missed a penalty.
Well,
to
we're gonna do a
not make
lot.
the Champions League.
Yes, I did see that.
But that's the first thing I want to say, right? That the women matter, right? That football is good. I like it. I support it. Second thing, this guy does not care about Spain. And that's really where anyone who's Spanish and the players from Spain should think about. Because he's shown you that he doesn't care about Spain. He cares about himself. That is a position that should be selfless. You should put the players first. If the women don't like you and you're representing them, then the players matter. Then you gotta go, right? They first came to him to get rid of Vilgas, and he didn't fire the coach. Now he seems vindicated. They won the World Cup, but he lost 15 players in the process to show that he's bigger than the girls. What did he need to do that for, right? It's that kind of mentality. Now, I'm not saying that these women are perfect or that they're right or that I don't know all the situations around what happened with the women's team. Or they just don't like getting yelled at. Okay, maybe that's a modern way players are. We could go into Sancho. Maybe he doesn't like being yelled at. People don't like to be coached in the old school way anymore.
Well,
this guy took it into some machismo. I'm better than this. You showed your true colors. You don't care about Spanish football. You care about yourself, right? And those women won the World Cup, and we should have only been talking about them and the great World Cup that was put on. Instead, we got this bullshit for fucking a month.
Yeah.
And he gets to dance around and go on Piers Morgan. No one should hire that guy ever again. He's an asshole. Anyway. Yeah.
Anyways, we promise we're going to stop cursing, but we're working on the rant. Oh. Anyways, let's talk about, well, we're going to Berhalter. Not yet. I know you want to do that, but we got to talk about Southgate
we got to blast first. The guy's a bum.
Southgate and his situation, according to Football 365 or One Football per se. Sterling Bellingham among 5 England stars, perhaps mad at Gareth because of the way they've been playing. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, they deserve English football deserves better, because there's probably 50 coaches better than Southgate, and I'm not even. I know I'm going to get blasted on all over the place, and I don't care, but it is. I think we could agree on this, that there are better managers for the English national team than Southgate. I mean, look at what they did with Ukraine.
The funny thing is that there aren't. If the criteria is they have to be English.
No, I don't think
if the criteria is that they have to be English, there are not a lot of obvious candidates. I have two.
I think English. I think English fans will be content as long as it's not German. I think they'll or maybe
they
Scottish.
Had a hard time with Capello. They had weird stuff with Sven-Goran Eriksson when he would ask for autographs from Beckham, which was totally fucking weird. Totally weird. Excuse me. But The coach that is out there that is interesting to me is Graham Potter. Just saying, he was good with Brighton. He's English.
Eddie
He did
Howe,
have a hard time at Chelsea. Maybe he's not the right guy. The other one is Steve Cooper from Nottingham Forest. He's a good coach. He coached the under-17 to a World Cup, so he knows some of the younger players on the team. Phil Foden, Bellingham, they all played together with him in the under-17 World Cup, because it's a different kind of role, right? It's not going to be Guardiola. It's not going to be these top-level coaches. It has to be someone who works within the English system and understands how it works. And that's why Southgate has been, to be fair, up until this point, a really good coach for England, right? But I think now they got to get the handbrakes off. Like, he raised the floor for what England is, but now the question is can he raise the ceiling? And I think that they're in a very narrow band of what they can be with Southgate as the coach. That's the way I view it.
Now, I think that the people will say, well, he got us to the finals with Italy. Well, let me tell you
That's not important.
But let me tell you what.
The problem is Jordan Henderson and Harry Maguire should never play, ever.
Yeah, and that final, if you really want to get in, that was a poor Italy team you should have beat. You know what I mean?
They scored a goal in the first 10 minutes, and then they sat off and we're going to defend for an hour. What are you doing?
And the really bad decision to put a really young kid in Bukayo Saka to shoot the penalty. To shoot the final penalty. You should.
And that's Sancho.
Yeah,
off the bench, both of them.
So, there is a lot going on there. There's a lot of talent too. You know, people are asking, who is the best player? Why is Foden not getting opportunities with the English team?
Why doesn't Foden play for City? This is something.
Exactly. Why is he not? Why is he not? But then he can shield himself. Southgate. He can shield him. Well, he's not playing at City either. So you're not questioning Guardiola.
It's not very hard. They should play a 4-3-3.
So
they should play.
But my
we
question
know what
is,
Walker is. Walker should be the right back, and they should play the 2-8s with Foden and Bellingham. Those should be the two midfielders with Rice.
So you're saying James Maddison shouldn't start?
No, Foden should start over James Maddison every day, twice on Sunday.
Damn.
James Maddison doesn't defend.
Well, he's not supposed to defend, is he? But Foden doesn't defend.
He's in the wrong spot. Yeah. Well, when you play for City, if you don't defend, you don't play.
He might help out. He might help out. You know, when the other team.
So we know Saka and Kane are there. The one spot is that front right area that could be Foden, and then you could. But no, he plays on the left. Doesn't
no,
he?
Saka plays on the right.
The front left is the one that's tricky.
Okay.
That could be Foden's spot. I don't mind him being there, but it's definitely not Maddison. And then I think everything's got to go through Bellingham.
Yeah.
He's got to be able to have the license. Like, Southgate should see that he's the best player that he has and just let him have the ball. Because why is Harry Kane 35 yards deep picking up the ball? Shouldn't that be Bellingham? Shouldn't he be picking up the ball from the center backs, carrying the ball forward, initiating the attacks? I don't understand why Harry Kane, the center forward of England, the all-time leading goal scorer, is 35 yards from goal, picking out Kyle Walker for his first goal. It doesn't make any sense. And that might be just international. Maybe I don't understand it. Maybe there's a dynamics that none of us understand, but it is weird.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not sure. I mean, everybody has been talking about Maguire. Everybody has been talking about.
He didn't have a bad game. He was fine.
Basically, Maguire. Yeah, he was good with Ukraine. The problem is, I feel like it's already like a habit of people talking about Maguire. And why? I mean, if you look at it from the perspective, why is he calling them? He really has no reason other than saying he's been with them.
In this case, the issue is this. You're playing Ukraine. Ukraine want to sit deep. They don't want the ball, right? Why are you playing two defensive midfielders? What are you afraid of? If the answer is, I don't think Harry Maguire can defend, then don't play him.
There's no ambition from Southgate, and that's the problem. You know,
Henderson was way too far up. Every time he was in these attacking third positions, it's his instinct to pass the ball back. And so everything slowed down. He couldn't make those, like, De Bruyne is the best example in the world. But when you get in that half space on the midfield side where you can cross the ball into the box, Henderson never does it. Because in Liverpool, that pass was made by Trent Alexander-Arnold. And for him, all he did was run and get the ball and pass it to Trent Alexander-Arnold. But there is no Trent Alexander-Arnold on this team.
And now,
like I don't.
And now they have a match.
In fact, Trent Alexander-Arnold is on this team. What am I thinking? He doesn't play him.
Yeah, and of course Henderson. We haven't talked about him. He's part of this team,
He shouldn't play. He's done.
Kind of having issues already at Al Ettifaq. So, you know, he contradicts himself. I mean, obviously, he has never came out, I don't think, saying that the best players are who play, because if he did that, he should be sacked at the instant. Because obviously he's calling Maguire, who, you know, obviously he's chosen money over playing, because he could have went to West Ham. And I mean, you could say that. Obviously, maybe he's saying, I want to fight for a spot. Ten Hag is not going to give him a spot at Manchester United ever again, along with Sancho, unless he actually needs him, or else he'll play just Lindell.
He did play. It was in that Arsenal game. Who was there at the end? Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire from the 2017 Leicester defense.
But Lindell was already in the match. I think that he would be. He would rather play Casemiro as a center back. I think
in defense. Yes.
I think. But going back to England, just something needs to be done. You know, are you going to hang on to the older players for leadership? Maybe you can have one or two leaders like that, because you know, that don't contribute football wise. But I don't think you can have, you know, Henderson, Maguire. Then you got Kane also, whose age is advancing, even though he can contribute football wise.
That pass was incredible.
Oh, incredible vision. Incredible.
How does he even see that?
Yeah, that's a 10 pass. That's a number 10 pass. Any day, anytime. You know, and
even deeper. It's more like it's like a Pirlo pass. It's like a deep blind 8 pass.
Yeah. I mean, it was incredible. And then you got talking about experience. You got the right back, your guy,
Chilwell.
No. City's
Walker.
Fantastic. Fantastic match. So but what I'm saying is, you added another older guy. Like, what are you trying to do? You know what I mean? You got Bukayo Saka, who's a young guy. So it just doesn't make any sense. He has weapons to actually try to beat Ukraine 3-0. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But he doesn't.
Pragmatism for when you're in a semifinal.
He doesn't try.
It's Ukraine. Just go beat them. He's afraid.
This
is how he's always been. He's a defender. When he was a manager at Middlesbrough, he was shit. He's not a good manager. Now, he may be a good administrator. Like, he's good at selecting. He's good at making a good environment. He's good at loyalty to the players. They must all love him. I get it. But like
that's
I said,
not how you're going to win.
Raise the floor of England, but can he raise the ceiling? I don't think he can. He's got them in this narrow band that you've got to be more ambitious to show the talents of the players you have. And since he was not one of those players, and he's not a big coach,
maybe that's what it is.
He's never had to win anything. He has no idea how to do it.
Okay, so
either they get rid of him, or Southgate himself must improve as a coach.
Yeah,
right. Because coaches can get better.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Eddie Howe, your boy. Maybe you can get rid of Eddie Howe and he can go coach England.
Exactly. Hey, check out the jerseys that England is going to use for tomorrow's match. That's nice, boy.
I love it.
I know 1872. I know there's going to be somebody out there saying, how can we use 1872 with the with racism and slavery barely over in the United States? and you know, I mean, somebody's going to come out like that, like you know.
Well, it's 150 years. It's the first international, England versus Scotland. So I'm telling you what, commemorating it.
This was nice. This was a nice jersey. Incredible how.
Scottish one's even nicer.
You know me. I'm a historian when it comes to football. I love history. So just the fact. I look at this and analyze this, and I'm like, can you believe in 1872 people came up with 3 lions, in 1,000 years later it's going to look similar to that, with the crown and everything?
That's the insignia probably of the House of Windsor. It's older than that. It's way older than that.
No, I know, but you know, like it just amazes me how like, you know, things like this happen. But it's going to be a good match. So what do you think? Now tomorrow, Scotland versus England. That's going to be a match. I'm going to watch it.
Hopefully, it's going to be in Hampden Park, which is the home of Scottish football. But let me tell you something. The Scots, if England plays the way they've been playing, they will lose.
Well, you know,
England will lose to Scotland because Scotland is really good. They're undefeated in their last 11. Scott McTominay, yes, Ten Hag, Scott McTominay
he wants to get rid of him.
leading his group in goals because he's been playing as a deep player when everyone who's an analytics person knows that Scott McTominay is an attacking midfielder. And for Scotland, that's a good team, man. That is a good team. And Steve Clark, Chelsea legend, is a good coach. And so here you have a team that's that's unified, that's together, that's been winning together, that has wins in their back. They're on the up, and England are a little bit drifting, I guess is the right term at the moment. They've sort of hit their highs, and now they're drifting a little bit. They need something, and maybe a big win against Scotland will lift them up. They'll put the big goals in, but I would expect Scotland to win or draw this game, and they haven't beat England for 20 years. Big game. This is a big game.
We'll see what happens. It's definitely a derby, I would say. I'm
going to give you my prediction. You ready?
Okay.
Scotland 1, England 0 on a left-footed free kick goal by McGinn.
Okay.
From Aston Villa.
I don't know. I think
it, goddamn legend.
I think England will get this one, man. If they don't, I think this is a lose.
Scotland's defenders are not very good.
This is a lose-lose.
They have Robertson and Tierney. They have good fullbacks, but
this is almost a lose-lose situation for England. And if they lose, it's bad. And if they win, and if they beat them, whatever. It's kind of a thing. Now, okay,
they're going to be singing about the dead. The Scots are going to be singing about the dead Queen. They're going to be talking all the shit. But
now this comes from ignorance. So again, the British people are going to annihilate me here as if it was 1865 or 50 something before.
We
listen.
I have no sense of what real.
Well, when I'm trying to,
animosity is. Maybe Peru, Ecuador has beef.
No,
this
hell
is
no.
Bigger than that.
But then listen, what I was trying to ask is, I'm just apologizing ahead because I know people are going to annihilate me. But Scotland is not under the United Kingdom, under the Queen's reign?
It is, but it
King
has
now.
Independence.
Okay,
it is under the King. Yes.
So
but they were never conquered. They married in.
Okay, well, you're still part of it. You don't get this. Actually, they're Scottish, I believe. I read up on a lot of the royalty. They live in.
You have to remember, there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of there's a lot of beef. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of history. A lot. Remember, Scottish people are not English. They are from the United Kingdom, so they're British, but they're not English. It's very different.
Okay,
the Welsh. The Welsh are not English. They're British, separate but equal.
So now we can't just blast England, and then the English are going to be talk about your own. Talk about your own damn team, and we're going to talk about U.S. soccer. That's what it's called over here, and I mean, Berhalter.
What a terrible first half.
I was at the game. I was at the game in St. Louis.
I was
at the game in St. Louis.
On the ground.
I actually show up on the video. If you actually zoom in a little, I was with a green shirt. Everybody was like, "Hey, where's your shirt?" Like, damn, I'm not gonna pay $200 for a U.S. shirt. I mean, I'll get it off Amazon or something. But it was a boring match. It started great with my guy Tim Weah just scoring a screamer. That I was like, we're about to win 7-0. And I mean, we won it 3-0, right? Result wise, I guess that's okay. That should have been the minimum.
But you scored the last 2 goals in the last 5 minutes.
In a horrific way. I don't know. It just gives me a headache and Berhalter stays on the same spot. I was watching him too. Does this with the skinny jeans and skinny shirt, and just does this the whole time. And I'm like, there's no anger or hanger, hunger and being angry at the same time. Like there's nothing, no motivation. The players, I mean, we have good players, I believe, to actually be able to be more confident in a win against Uzbekistan. And they could have scored 2 goals easily.
Easy.
So
yeah. So
what's going on?
Fans of England, our fans of England, please understand that, and fans of other countries, please understand that we're immature still. We still don't really get mad at the U.S. men's national team. We kind of don't lose our minds. If you say Berhalter out, you'll have just as many people attacking you and saying you should support the team. We're actually not mature enough yet as a soccer nation to really get on our team, frankly. But I think it's deserved. We've been told that we have this great squad, and I don't think we do. Tim Ream is our best player, which is weird.
No, come on. He's not our best player.
Balogun was supposed to be fantastic. Pulisic took a penalty, but we don't have mentality or spirit as a group. That is the big thing that's missing. There's no fear or real hunger as a group. There may be hunger as individual players, but we're a very middle-class, comfortable team.
Well,
right? There's a couple of guys from rough backgrounds, but mostly it's like sons of football players or kids who grew up in nice areas. There's no edge. The team has no edge. Zero edge.
I think you have edge without being born, poor.
I'm not trying to make it a class thing, but I just feel like there's not a level of desperation, right?
Well,
it's
I feel
life
like
or death for any of these guys,
and I feel like the manager is a big part of that.
Agreed.
To inject that into the players, because before these players were playing younger, more inexperienced, and playing better, but with more hunger. Maybe under Berhalter as well. So that could be an argument on his case, but I just don't know, man. I keep saying it.
What coach? Maybe we shouldn't have an American coach, but what coach?
Yeah, no, I don't believe in that crap.
Instills that. I don't even know. Like, I would love, and I know I said it last week. I would love to have Mourinho, Simeone, Bielsa, these kind of coaches. Even what's his name? who's the Miguel Herrera? The crazy coach,
the Mexican,
the former Mexican coach.
Yeah,
even he might be better for the U.S. because he's kind of crazy and wild, right?
Yeah.
Like, just someone who brings something more than just, we're doing X's and O's, we're going to play. This team is about mentality. I think for the U.S. player, I think that they are well trained. They are playing in Europe. They are technically good players who, in a role in a certain team, can be good and score goals. We see Balogun scored 20 goals in France. That's a huge number. Tim Weah has had moments. Pulisic has had great moments in Bayern, at Dortmund, less so at Chelsea. Tim Ream has been part of promotion teams that have scored 110 goals in the championship. These are good players. Yeah, still playing at Fulham. But where is that John Terry energy? Who's yelling? Where's Lexi Lawless? Not that I want him, but I do think you need an edge. You need spirit, Americanness. We can win, and losing is not acceptable. Do you know what I mean? Just something more. And I don't think we have that.
Yeah,
Berhalter, to your point, is not the guy who's bringing that.
And unfortunately, he's signed up for another World Cup, so that's why I feel like this is a waste of time. This is a waste of time.
Agreed. Well, we have an automatic bid, so it doesn't matter.
Oh no, I'm saying just the World Cup when we get there. I personally, I don't celebrate going to the World Cup. That's nonsense. I mean, if you're the United States of America, you need in this area, you need to go. If not, everybody needs to be gone. So
you're a loser. Yeah. What the Tyler Twellman? What are we doing?
What Bruce Arena did in 2018? Well, he was the one that ended up on the picture, not sending us to World Cup. That was unacceptable. Even though he had probably the more success. Is it Brad? Yeah, I mean, I think the more likely thing to happen would be like Bob Bradley would come back before we'd get a real coach. That's the weird thing about it. No, but I feel like the United States is the only club or the team in the world, the United States men's national team in the world. Listen to me, the only one that could be in a developing national team or sports in the country developing like it is now still, and get a top name for a coach, because who doesn't want to come to live to the United States?
Sure, yeah, just like Messi. Yeah, for sure.
So
you'd be a legend. You could take over the world as the U.S.
and you can actually get that. Unlike, I don't know, Ecuador. They could have all the money in the world, but they're not going to live in Ecuador. I mean, people are not choosing that. You know what I'm saying?
That's why Klinsmann did it, right? He was living in LA.
Exactly.
He was hanging out.
They didn't care too much
this
for
is going to be great.
So but still, we don't. I mentioned Ranieri back before when this was questioned. A top name that knows football. That football is what it is in his soul. You know what I mean? Does not focus on anything else. That is I would have said Bielsa maybe, but he doesn't speak English, and it would have been tough. He
probably speaks English. He doesn't want to speak English.
Yeah, and so
because he's such an intellectual, he knows that he can't express himself the way that he wants to.
Exactly, and so, but it is what it is. We can talk about it for hours, and nothing is going to change because it is what it is. We're just going to keep blasting the team.
It is a for-profit business of middle-class rich kids playing in our national team.
But I can't. I don't think that the players are the problem, because I think that we have better players, or not better, but I think we don't have as less talent than before. I mean, I don't think that.
The thing is, it's not the measure of talent. We need different types of players. I think that they're all the same, is my point. I think that they're like, I love Anthony Robinson, an English kid from Liverpool. He shows fight. He shows spirit. I love him, right? But he's English, even though he's on the team. He brings that English spirit of football to the end.
And so what do you think about the all these, how the US has been acquiring players from other countries like Balogun,
whatever. I think it's really on a personal basis. Like, it's clear that Anthony Robinson is really happy to embrace his Americanness, even though he didn't grow up here, and plays for the shirt. All I care about is if you play for the shirt, right? Like, does it matter to you?
You have to feel it.
Right.
You can't just. You can't fake it. If you fake it, you're not. It's just another club. You don't.
I think another one was, like, if you remember Mix Diskerud, that dude did not care to play for the U.S.
I don't know necessarily that Serginho Dest.
He does not care.
And I'm not saying that he plays, but I think that once you have that plus, you will give everything for your country. I mean, you know how American people feel about their country. That nothing can be matched, or better said, go above what Americans feel about their country and about
what's
sports.
Frustrating is and I know this is like the stupidest reason, and it's very not American because we're not like this, but practice as a team. The lineup, when the American anthem plays, sing it together. Not because of patriotism, but to show the audience that you're connected to each other.
Exactly.
Because we'll be connected to you. I don't feel that, right? And I think some of that shows mentality. Like, I think about a team like Australia in general, just the way their national teams are. In basketball, they fight to the death, even though they're not going to win. They never give up. In rugby, they fight to the death. All of them sing. They have a whole national camaraderie, and they have a similar culture to ours, immigrant nation, but they've somehow created a spirit within Australia that allows their national teams to punch above their weight. Whereas the United States is this giant country, and we are less than our parts. Like, there's 350 million people here. You can't tell me we can't find 25 kids that are better than Mexico every day, twice on Sunday, or better than, Uruguay, or better than Croatia. What? It can be from spirit, right? Where is it? Shit, I bet you if you went to a sandlot in El Paso, you'd find 11 Mexican kids who have more spirit than those guys that play sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why I don't have a problem with Pepe. Pepe chose to play for the U.S. instead of Mexico.
Like it.
And Pepe is
I love it.
A Mexican kid. Mexican people are into football more than anything.
But he's American.
But he's American. Man. But no. I'm saying, yeah. What I'm trying to say is that he was raised with his parents. Football is in his DNA, meaning he is, he chose the U.S. for a reason. It's not just because he can't play for Mexico, or and because he's a top talent, and he can't. Every time he comes in the match, he scores.
He plays. Yeah,
and he's hard punching, elbowing.
But that's the thing that always throws me off about the U.S. men's national team. I don't understand how it's not 70% Latino. It never makes sense to me.
Well,
Every
it needs
time I
to be
see
what
it.
it is. I mean, yeah. Well, Latinos do play a lot of soccer, and since we're closer to the U.S., Mexicans, or
But there's a lot of but it's so it says to me that we're not finding them.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure there would be. And this Vasquez kid from, I forgot where he plays in the MLS. He's really tall. He played in the Gold Cup, and he was really good.
Why are we finding Americans in Liverpool and not American-born Latino kids in El Paso? How does that happen?
I think we have. I think we have a lot of time. I think Pulisic is American, full. Caucasian American.
Oh no, of course,
and he plays well.
But
McKinney,
his father's Croatian.
Like per se, you're going to tell me like a DeMarcus, what's his name? What was his name? Beasley.
A legend.
Black
American all the way.
Black American here, born and raised in the U.S. But
fantastic,
as scrawny as it can be, and he will run and kill for every ball and be an excellent.
He was
left or right back, I think he was.
He played forever. What a great player!
And he even went to Mexico. So like you can still find it here, but we just got to do a lot more work.
I think that's what I think. I think that our net is too narrow. Anyway, I got to go.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening and watching football tonight here on Top FC Radio. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and share it. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Chris. I got to bounce.